So good morning. I'm going to cover the things that you have to do in this competition. So there are three parts in this competition, called Part A, Part B, and Part C. All the contestants, you have to finish the Part A and Part B. Part A basically is the tutorial. At the end, you're going to fill in a questionnaire, right? And the Part B is the machine learning model. So we're giving you 5 weeks of time to build a model. So the Part C is not for all the contestants. Those contestants that they got a very accurate predictive model, we're going to shortlist them, invite them to go to the Part C, right? So in the Part C, they're going to be compete for the grand prize, okay? So this is the things you have to remember. So let me just talk a bit about the deliverables, the things that you have to do in each part. So the Part A, basically, you got to learn a bit more about the semantic AI models, how you're going to use that, and you're going to fill in a questionnaire at the end. Okay, so this is all you need to do. And the Part B, which is the most important part, so you're going to build an AI model, a machine learning models. So the machine learning model that you're going to build is to predict the cooling load demand of a government building complex, which I'm going to talk a bit more later in the data part. So you're going to build a model that can accurately predict the next 3 months hourly cooling load for that building. So this is what you are going to do. So you are asked to use the Python languages, machine learning library using this Python interface to do that. So what you have to submit at the end of this Part B basically is the model itself and all the Python code associated with that, right? How you build a model, how you predict the model, right? How you use the model to do the predictions. And you got to send in a 2-page summary to describe your model, okay? And earlier we mentioned that we're going to have some sponsor. They provide the cloud computing services for you to use to train your model, right, to build your models. So if you are using the Tencent Cloud, they have a special price for those contestants. They use their cloud platforms to develop the model. So if you are using the Tencent Cloud, they're asking you to download some of the screenshot, okay, because the Tencent Cloud got some special functions. So they want you to do some screenshot of the functions that you are used to. So there's a special price for that, and I'm going to talk a bit more on that later on. So this is for the Part B, right? And the Part C, so based on what you did, what you are going to do, the result from the Part B, the accuracy of the models, right? So at the end of the Part B, we'll determine whether you got any prize, the gold prize, the silver prize, the bronze prize. Again, we'll talk a bit more in the other section, okay, about the price. So for those candidates, they achieve a very good result, right? So we're going to invite them to the Part C, right? And they're going to compete for the grand prize. There are 5 grand prizes for that. So what you're going to do is you need to prepare a 20 minutes video, okay, and talk about how you do that, right? So our judge will look at the presentation, your video that you record to determine for the grand prize. Okay, so this is the Part C. All right, so this is the summary. Things you have to remember is the deadline. So Part A, Part B, we expect you to submit the deliverables for Part A, the questionnaire, right? The Part B, the code, right? The Python code, the model itself, 2-page report by Jan the 14th. Okay, so we're going to use that to determine whether you're going to get any prize at all. And we will also, for those contestants with a very, very good accurate model output, again, we're going to invite them to join the Part C. And the Part C, the deadline for the Part C, right? That means that a 20 minutes video, you have to submit that by February the 5th. Okay, so this is a summary. Let me just talk a bit about the judging criteria. So Part A, basically, you fill in a questionnaire. We'll look at that. So we'll study, okay, all your comment, your recommendation. So we'll use that to determine, okay, we're going to use that to determine the grand prize, right? So the Part B is the most important one, your machine learning models, right? So how we're going to do that? We're going to evaluate the accuracy of your prediction output, the hourly cooling load, right? And compare with the actual. So we come over the one mean square error, right? So we're based on that to determine whether you're going to have any price at all, the gold, the bonds, the silver, the bonds, right? The Part C, we're going to have a 5 grand prize, okay? So we have a grand prize on the innovation, the model design, the resources that you use. So those are how we are going to evaluate whether you're going to get the grand prize or not. So again, there are 5 grand prize. This is the title of the grand prize: the most efficient AI algorithm, the best execution of semantic AI, the most innovative AI solutions, the innovative use of data, and finally, the outstanding AI influencer. Okay, so, and the special prize, which is the Tencent, the use of Tencent Cloud, right, in this project, in this context. So there's a special prize for that. So remember I mentioned about that. So at the end of the Part B, when you do the submission, if you are using the Tencent Cloud, you got to provide some screenshot and explain to the judge how you use those Tencent Cloud, right, to help you in this context. So about the data, so this is the most important one. So we're going to develop a predictive model, a cooling load predictive model of a government building complex. It consists of 2 buildings with different density, population density, occupancy density, right, directions, all this, right? So it's located in Hong Kong, around 115,000 square meters. And it's a typical office building. So there's a simplified version of this building schematic diagrams. So the most important that you have to be aware of is the one is the chiller system, and then you can see how this chiller system being connected to various components, okay, in this HVAC systems, and how those cooling water is flowing to those 2 buildings, right? The North Tower and the South Tower. So give you a bit understanding, a bit information about the building. So what we're going to give you to do the prediction, the data itself. So we're going to give you 18 months of data, right? Starting from April the 1st last year to September 30th. Okay, just 2 months ago, right? So there are 18 months of data. The sampling of the observation is 15 minutes, right? And how we are going to give you those data? The first 15 months of data, we're going to give you as a single CSV. So we do all the cleanup for you. So we prepare all the data for you in a single CSV, right? So, and the next 3 months, the subsequent 3 months of data, we're going to ask you to do a little bit, have a little bit fun and go to our semantic AI platform. So you got to download the data, individual point data by yourself. So the subsequent 3 months of data, you're going to download individual point data by yourself. And I'm going to cover that a bit more in the next few slides. All right, so this is a summary. So you are going to use, we're going to provide you an 18 months of data. The first 15 months is a single CSV, which you can download directly from the science and technology platforms. Okay. The next 3 months training data, you got to download that yourself. Those are the point data. You have to construct those data back to the CSV file, that 15-month CSV file format. Right? And what we are going to do, we're going to evaluate your models based on the accuracy of the hourly prediction output. So we're going to use the next 3 months of data to validate, to test, okay, to evaluate your model. Okay? So those data will be from October the 1st to December the 31st. So 3 months prediction. A bit on the formats of the data. So it's a very simple CSV, okay? So there are altogether 8 columns in it. Okay. And we have the timestamp column, which is the timestamp of the observations. And we have those environmental, the temperature informations, like the outdoor air temperature, the humidity, the UV index, the FH rainfalls. Okay. And as I mentioned that, those 2 buildings, they have a different occupancy density, right? And they are being served by the same chiller systems. So that's why, to give you a bit more information, I have this, what we call the south tower, the south building cooling load demand, and the north building cooling load demand there for your references. But what you are going to do is to do the prediction, the forecasting of the total cooling load, which is the summation of the south tower cooling load and the north tower cooling load. So this is the column that you have to, this is your target variables, right? Okay, and those are the dependent variables, and we give you a bit more information about the south tower and the north tower, the share of the cooling load, the total cooling load by tower. All right, so those are the 15 months of data, right? And then we also give you the last 3 months of training data, that 18 months, the last 3 months of that 18-month data from July 1st to September 30th. So you're going to download that by yourself, okay? And we're going to give you the link, the download link, or the link to access to our semantic AI platform. So we're going to give that to you later on, right? So just give you a bit more information what it looks like. So once you get into the semantic AI platforms, this is what earlier Linda described, right? All the relationships of the component, right? This chiller component, the HVAC component. Right? So you have to download the data by yourself, right? Those cooling load, all this, right? So you have to navigate that, and then we have a section later on. Alpha is going to teach you how to do that, right? So basically, this is the UI, the GUI, for you to navigate and download the informations. For example, you got to have those cooling load information, right? So your target variables, right? So how are you going to do that? Earlier, Professor Wen mentioned about that, the cooling load, right? You got to have this temperature, like the delta of the temperature, the inlet temperature, the outlet temperature, the out and in, right? And you got to have the flow. So you got to download those point data from this semantic AI platform. So, for example, I would like to download the flow rate of the chill water going to the south tower. So you have to go to that point, CPST, CHWS, blah, 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 all this. And you click on that, and there will be a CSV file for you to download. So the format is just like that. Remember, we'll give you the 3 months of data, right? Starting from July the 1st to September the 30th. So those will be the format of the data that you're going to get from the semantic AI platforms. And to assist you a little bit, so we have provided you this mapping table. Say you got to have those environmental information. Remember that 15-month CSV, we have those environment information, the weather, right, the outdoor temperature, the humidity. So you can download that directly from here, from that point, okay, South Tower, RF, blah, blah, blah. So you can do a search. And the CSV that you're going to download will be the name like this. It's a little bit hard to read. It's 3007.csv. So this is how you download that 3 months of weather data, okay? In this case, the temperature of the outdoor air. Okay, you got to download the information. You got to have this cooling load information, right? So how you can get those cooling load information? Again, you have to go to this semantic AI platform, download the point data that you're going to use to compute the cooling load. So in order to compute the cooling load for the South Tower, you got to have these 3 points. So I have this mapping table here for your reference. And then you have to use a formula like that for those without this air conditioning, whatever, okay, background. So the way to calculate the cooling load basically is to use this formula, right? So you got to have the flow rate. You got to have the temperature differences, okay, going into the building, going out from the building, right? And then you can calculate the cooling load Okay, so this is how you're going to do that. So we have the detailed information in the rule books. Okay, so you can refer to that anytime. So now, so what are you going to do? So you got this 18 months of data. So you got to train your model, right? So to make sure that everyone submit the result or the model in a format that we're looking for, we purposely provide you a validation data set. Okay. The purposes of the validation data set is for you to use to make sure that you will generate your model, your predictor, right? Will be able to generate this expected output, right? So this is the cooling load, the hourly cooling load, right? So we prepared you evaluation data set, right? Using the last 7 days of the training data, that 18 months training data, right? So we have this timestamp, we have this outdoor temperature and so on, right? So you're going to use that and use your script, right? Just the script that that you can use to apply your predictive model and generate this cooling load, the hourly cooling load, right? In this format, right? So there are 2 columns in it, the timestamp and the cooling load for that hour. So that will be the name of your output CSV. So you got to do that as part of your submissions for your Part B, right? So we want to make sure that your output generate the format that we are looking for, exactly this format that we are looking for. Okay, and finally, what we're going to do to evaluate that. So we have this 3 months of data to evaluate the accuracy of your model. So from October the 1st to December the 31st. So the format will be exactly as the one we asked you to validate your model, right? So there will be 5 columns there, right? The timestamps and the external temperature. Okay, so what you're going to do is to have that model, right? Your model, you submit the model, along with the script that we can call to apply your model. So the output should be like this, right? Again, 2 columns, right? So the name of the file, the name of the 2 columns, and the format. So just give you a bit of the information. We'll expect, because that would be the 3 months of hourly prediction output, right? So the total number of record in the output data set at the end will be around like exactly 2,208. So we'll use this information, compare with the actual, and come up with the root mean square error to determine the overall accuracy of your model. So this is what you have to do. Again, for us to make the validation, evaluation task a bit easier, we're asking you in your Python program, set all those path variables so that when we receive, because we don't know whether you are building your predictive model in Linux or Windows or whatever environment. So to make our job a little bit easier, we strongly advise you have to put your path variables right there so that when we receive your program, so we just need to modify the path, okay, in the path variable. So this is what we are asking you guys to do. Again, they are well documented in the rule books, okay? So I hope this gives you enough information about the game rules, the data, right, and the judging criteria. Okay, so that's all I would like to share.